For hours after your grandfather stops breathing, 14 lawyers are seated at his table. You are 31. The folder in front of you holds $8.2 billion, and a lawyer slides one page across the mahogany. You read it twice. You inherit nothing. Not the house. Not the money. Nothing is yours. Your whole life was aimed at this room. You don't understand the page yet. You will. Start at the gates. You're 9. The driveway is half a mile long. The house at the end of it has 41 rooms, and your father is in none of them. He runs the empire your grandfather started in 1954 with one rusted truck. Today you saw your father for 11 minutes. You counted. Other kids want bikes. You want an appointment. The only person in the house who talks to you like a person is the man who built it. Your grandfather Henry walks you down the portrait hall. His mother and father, farmers, painted in gold from the only photographs he had. Then Henry himself. Then your father Richard, painted at 40, already looking guarded. At the end hangs an empty frame. That one's yours, Henry says. None of this is yours. All of it is your problem. Henry eats with you every Thursday. Cook's night off, grilled cheese, just you two. He keeps a photograph in his wallet. One rusted truck, 1954. I was poorer than anyone you will ever meet, he says, and taps the picture. You ask him what it feels like to earn $1. He goes quiet for a long time. You'll have to fight harder than I did to find out. You're 9. You think it's a riddle. It's a warning. But heirs aren't raised. They're placed. At 14, you're sent to a school in Switzerland that costs $130,000 a year. The most expensive school on earth. Your roommate's father owns a shipping line. The boy across the hall is an actual prince. Nobody asks what your family does. Asking is the one thing that isn't done. First rule of old money. Never count another man's money out loud. Your cousin Preston is 3 years older and already dresses like a board member. Christmas break, you two watch the adults through the library window. Lawyers, even at Christmas, always lawyers. You know it's mine, right? He says. Not cruel. Certain. I am oldest. That's how this works. You're 14, and something new and ugly switches on in your chest. Keep it. You're going to need it. 16. The jet waits for you now. $70 million of aluminum that leaves when you say leave. You test it once, for friends, Portugal, a weekend because you can. Monday, a polite man from something called the family office calls. The card you used isn't yours. The jet isn't yours. Nothing you touch is yours. Every dollar you will ever spend is approved by a committee you've never met. The cage has wonderful catering. 25. A conference room, a trustee, a pen. Your trust vests today. The first of 3 doors. 25, 30, 35. 10,000 a month becomes 2 million all at once. There are conditions printed small. Health, education, maintenance, support, and a trust decides what those 4 words mean. Men you have never met wrote the rules of your life before you could read. You sign where the tab says sign. The summer you turn 26, you have 400 friends. They find you, Monaco, Sardinia, a deck full of laughter you're quietly paying for. A woman you love signs a non-disclosure agreement before your 3rd date. The lawyers insist. Everyone laughs at your jokes now. Your jokes have not gotten better. And the ugly switch Preston installed keeps asking, which of these people would stay for the version of you with nothing? So you try to become someone instead of something. You start a logistics software company under a clean name, no Halloran anywhere on it. 18-hour days for the first time in your life, and it feels like health. Investors fight to get in. The round closes in a week. You allow yourself one night of pride. But at the closing dinner, an investor toasts you by your real name. Everyone knew. They always knew. 2 years later, a rival offers $40 million for the company. And for one afternoon, you feel earned. Then you read the diligence file. Your biggest customer, 60% of revenue, is a freight subsidiary your family quietly owns. Your father routed it to you to keep you busy, to keep you contained. The exit was bought before you started. You sell anyway. Your hands don't shake when you sign. That's the part that scares you. If the money is going to own you, you decide to learn how it works. The family office, 1 quiet floor in Manhattan, 61 employees, 1 client, your last name. There are about 8,000 offices like it on Earth, running fortunes like yours, and almost nobody knows they exist. Henry, 90 now, insists on walking you in himself. Took you long enough, he says, and his grip on your arm is the proudest thing you've ever felt. They show you the vault. No gold. Paper. Trust deeds, 400 LLCs, a family constitution older than your father. And they teach you old money's favorite trick. Buy, borrow, die. Never sell, borrow against the stock at 2% and live on the loan, tax-free. Die, and the step-up wipes the gains clean for your heirs. The estate tax is 40% on paper. The family has paid almost none of it in 70 years. All of it legal. Weeks in the files teach you the shape of the thing. The foundation with your name on a museum wing. The Freeport Vault in Geneva where the paintings live, duty-free, in the dark. The trust in South Dakota, because South Dakota lets a trust live forever, and $500 billion of family money now sits there in quiet buildings tourists walk past. You finally see it. The family doesn't own things. The family is a legal weather system. Thursday, grilled cheese like you're 9 again. Henry is 91 and doesn't eat much now. Listen, he says, 70% of families lose it all by the second generation, 90 by the third. He looks at you a long, level moment. You're the third. Then, quieter, watch your father. He's been losing since the day I didn't die on schedule. You laugh. Henry doesn't. That is the last dinner. Henry dies on a Tuesday in a house, in the room he was born poor enough to remember. 91 years. One truck to 8.2 billion. At the funeral, 400 people fill the hall, and a black ribbon hangs on his gold frame. Your father doesn't cry. He checks his phone. Preston squeezes your shoulder like a handshake he's been practicing. You are 31. The will is read in 4 hours. The same table from the beginning. 14 lawyers. The folder. The page. You inherit nothing, because everything is already in trust. Nothing to tax. Nothing to sue. Nothing a divorce or a creditor can ever touch. That was Henry's design. Own nothing, control everything. Then the lawyer turns to the second page. The trusts require a successor. Henry chose one, in his own hand. It is not your father. It's you. You ask the office for the full books, a successor's right. It takes them 9 days to comply, and on the 10th you understand why Henry skipped a generation. Your father has been borrowing against the family's collateral for a decade. Bad hotels, a vanity airline, margin. The whole is $1.9 billion, papered over with newer debt. Henry knew. The curse doesn't skip generations. It books them in advance. Your father sues to break the trust, to void the succession, to finally become the thing his father never let him be. Preston joins him. He was always certain. Halloran versus Halloran. 2 years, 40 lawyers, billed hourly. You learn the ugliest true thing about money this size. It doesn't tear families apart. It just pays for the tearing, by the hour, for as long as anyone can stand it. Your mother stops hosting Christmas. There is no Christmas now. Your father asks to meet. No lawyers. A window, 2 glasses, the skyline he tells himself he built. Up close he looks old for the first time, and small. Step aside, he says, I'm his son, and here is the moment. You could give back. You could just be his son. Instead you hear Henry. All of it is your problem. No, you say, one word. Your father's face closes like a door, and you hear the lock turn. The family council votes on a Sunday, because the Constitution says it must. 9 to 6. For you, your father stands, buttons his jacket, and leaves without one word. Preston follows him out. You now control $8.2 billion, minus a $1.9 billion hole, and the chair at the head of the table is finally yours. It's warmer than you expected. Someone was sitting in it your whole life. Rebuilding takes 6 years. You sell the airline, feed the hole, and the machine heals. Money this size heals anything if you stop wounding it. Now the gallows. Your foundation gives away $200 million a year. The law only requires 5% of it ever move at all. Senators find you at these parties. Museum directors laugh before your jokes land. Giving it away, you discover, buys more than spending it ever did. The screens say $6.8 billion and climbing. Past Henry's peak by next year. Compounding does the work. Your only job is refusing to interrupt it. You approve allocations before dawn and sleep at the office twice a week. There's a boy at home with your eyes. You named him Henry. This morning, your assistant blocked him into the calendar. 9:40 to 9:51. Sunday. Your son stands at the gates with a soccer ball, watching your car crunch up the half-mile drive. He's 9. You had 11 minutes for him today. He counted the way you counted once on the other side of these same black bars. Your body understands before you do. Your hand is on the iron, and you can't remember getting out of the car. The bars were never for keeping people out. You try to be different. The machine has other plans. A merger needs a regulator soothed. You make one call. A senator calls you sir. He's 62, you're 44. The family bank knows your cash flow before you feel hungry. Somewhere in these years, you stop asking what things cost. Not because you're rich, but because the asking was the last muscle of the person you almost got to be. Then one gray afternoon, you sign what Henry once signed. The Dynasty Trust, rearmed for another century. In Nevada, a trust can run 365 years. In South Dakota, forever. Every heir a beneficiary, never an owner. Untaxable, undivorceable, untouchable for as long as law exists. Your pen hovers over the line, and the empty frame in the hall flickers behind your eyes. You sign. Of course you sign. And standing in the vault, you finally read the page from the beginning the way Henry meant it. You inherit nothing, because ownership is the weakness. Owners get taxed. Owners get sued, divorced, kidnapped, blamed. The trust owns. You merely control. And control is the only inheritance. You will die richer than most nations, and your personal estate will fit in one drawer. Is the family's masterpiece. Is also your cage, notarized. There is a level above you. You meet it exactly once. A dinner, 11 families, no phones, no press, no names on the door. Across the table sits a man from the family with 21 billionaires in it. They own the largest private company in America, and your neighbors have never once said their name out loud. Up here, there is only one rule, and he says it like a toast: stay off the lists. Lists are for new money. Over the next 20 years, $124 trillion changes hands. The largest transfer of money in human history, old hands to young ones. More than half of it moves inside 2% of families. The heirs are already chosen. Most were chosen before they were born, the way you were. Nobody voted. Nobody will. The chair at the very top of the world sits empty on purpose. A trust doesn't need a face. You're 60. A painter comes on Thursdays now, and the fifth frame in the hall, your frame, is no longer empty. The money bought the room. The money bought the silence in it. The money bought you, the day you were born, before you could object. 70% gone by the second generation. 90 by the third. You beat the curse. Say it slower. The curse is the only thing you ever beat. Sunday at the gates. Your son is grown. His daughter stands where you stood, 9 years old, small hands on the black iron, watching the house. Her father was inside it for 11 minutes today. She counted. You walk down the drive, past the fountain, and hand her the only true thing you own. Henry's sentence, for generations old now. None of this is yours, you say. All of it is your problem. The gates close. They always close.